thanks. Thanks for the opportunity to talk this morning or this afternoon, depending on where you're located. Again, our primary topic is optimizing late-stage clinical and commercial development, the benefits and challenges of bridging the gap. We'll talk about the theme of kind of bridging the gap between clinical and commercial a lot throughout the presentation, looking at it from a number of different angles. And if I can get to my next slide, I will.
Just give a click to your PowerPoint there.
There we go. Okay, so again, I'm going to touch on, just kind of set the stage for our other speakers, talking a little bit about some of the issues that we encounter in a variety of different aspects of clinical and commercial development. Neil will then talk a little bit more specifically about the patient recruitment opportunities within clinical trials to think of things from a clinical development standpoint, but also more of a commercial perspective. Jeff Kent from Horizon will talk about the importance of balance in really looking at clinical and commercial science and strategy at the same time within the context of late-stage research. Elaine will talk about the vital importance of generating and communicating evidence. All the work we do in clinical research and outcomes research is kind of moot unless we communicate it effectively and achieve influence, achieve persuasion with the individuals who we're trying to communicate with. And then I'll close by addressing some of the remaining challenges that we face in achieving this optimization, and certainly open it up to questions from the audience. So again, I want to talk a little bit about the goals and challenges of optimizing late-stage clinical and commercial development, and I will just dive into it for the next few seconds here. So, why do anything differently? Why should we aspire towards optimizing late-stage clinical and commercial development? And I think the issue that we see time and time again is that, whoops, I'm sorry, I messed up my screen here. Here we go. Is that the landscape has dramatically changed. The healthcare industry is facing some critical challenges from a financial standpoint, from a strategic standpoint, and given the empowerment that patients and payers and drug and medical device companies face, developers of medical products and marketers of medical products really must be increasingly selective in thinking about the compounds that we're going to be taking to market. We have to get the compounds and products through clinical development as quickly and cost efficiently as possible, ultimately to achieve accelerated commercial uptake. Once we get the product approved, that's not the end of the game. We have to ultimately position it effectively for commercialization. So there's a lot more challenges in the marketplace that are really forcing the drug and medical device developers to be more efficient, to think about accelerating the progress of a product through clinical development and commercial development. And we think one of the great opportunities is really to ensure every step of the way we're looking at things from as many perspectives as possible, capitalizing on the opportunities in clinical trials, for example, to really achieve a commercial footprint and a commercial foundation. So our speakers will talk a little bit more about some of those opportunities as we go along. We think late stage, and I put it in quotes because late stage is used, I think, differently depending on your perspective in the industry. What we mean is generally peri-approval, post-approval, kind of phase 3B and phase 4. We know there are many people that look at late stage as anything that isn't early stage or stage 1, but for the purposes of our discussion today, we really are going to be focusing on late stage as the critical point at which the baton is exchanged from clinical to commercial. Once clinical development is pretty much wrapped up and we're moving it over into commercialization, in some organizations that starts as early as phase 3, maybe even earlier in terms of some of the planning activities. But we believe that that's the best place for optimizing the approach to really accelerating clinical and commercial development through more strategic thinking and execution at every stage of the way, before commercialization and certainly throughout commercialization. So we've identified 3 primary opportunities which we believe represent a great chance for accelerating commercial development and clinical development. There certainly are other opportunities along the whole continuum, if you will, from early stage through the final stages of product life cycle. But again, our focus is very much on this convergent zone in the late stage arena. And we'll talk today specifically about opportunities for more strategic thinking from a patient recruitment standpoint, from a late stage research, in many cases observational research standpoint, and then medical communications. Importantly, each of these areas represents a great opportunity to achieve efficiency within each of these activities, but we think there are great opportunities for strategically linking them as well. Indeed, we think that companies can leverage the clinical trial process already. Even undertaking clinical trials is a great opportunity to begin some of the market preparation activities, establishing a framework for late-stage studies in many cases to really understand what the disease is all about, what some of the unmet needs in the marketplace are, and ultimately develop evidence that can be used for discussions with other stakeholders.